show. I'm excited to be joined by my friend and business partner, Mr. Michael Vincent. I'm sure you've seen his podcasts over the years. He's always on the air doing something. We work together on fuel and emissions reduction with net savings, plastics waste reduction, recycling with savings, and monetary gains for companies, which also ends up being monetary gains for people. So it's a win-win.
Right on, brother. I mean, it's all about sustainability, but it's doing it in a way that brings both sides of the equation together, right? You're helping the earth, but you're helping businesses make and or save money at the same time, right? Exactly. And that's where it's got to be. It can't be one side or the other. It's been too linear or too one-sided, if you will. Either way you look at it, right?
Right.
You got your people laying down in front of trucks and getting run over and thrown in jail, and then you got your people, extorting rare earth, and we don't have to do that. We can work together. It can be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And that's
so
what
that's big topic for today is going to be a money back guarantee, at least 10% fuel economy improvement. We're averaging 20, but we have a money back guarantee, at least 10% fuel economy improvement. And that is net savings. It's money that you don't have to spend on fuel. You can buy new equipment. You can do bonus programs. You could open up another warehouse. You could do whatever, right, with that money. So it's a win.
That is awesome. So you're going to come in and you're going to prove to me that you can save me an average of 20% is what it really does, right? And that's net savings, right? I mean, that's net savings is what I've been, the way I understand.
So it works out to be 10 to 20% net savings on fuel.
Yeah.
We're averaging 20% fuel economy improvement.
Gotcha. Yep. And that's how it works out, right?
So you take you got
to have the cost of the cyber fuels in there and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what I'm getting at. That's what it makes sense. When you say that 10 to 20, that cost is in there. This is what we're talking about, right?
That's right.
But so that initial test isn't, were you going to come out and burn some of this stuff on my desk and say, see? Or what's the test here? Let's
get it is a 3-truck pilot. I'm going to share my screen now and show you. So basically what we do is we take 3 trucks minimum. We do fuel and odometer. We get a baseline. What is the fuel economy for 15 to 20 driving days? Then we run the fuel treatment, cyber fuels, and we measure. What's the difference? So here's an Illinois fleet, 3-engine test, measured 20.84% mile per gallon increase. Here's one in Denver, Colorado, 19.8%. And they wanted to measure DEF as well. So we reduced diesel exhaust fluid by 21.95%. Our most dramatic was a fleet in Florida, older engines that run a lot of hours, very dirty. And this was a 30.39% fuel reduction using their fuel and odometer information. That's what we do. So we take the baseline.
Let me ask you something on those pictures that are on there. Are you trying to imply what business these were in? Because I know that like the savings also depends on what you're doing, right? I mean, if you're running around town with straight trucks all day, savings ain't going to be as high, right? You're not going to get your 30%. I mean, theoretically, you're not, because you're doing a lot of idling, right?
Yeah. So the more hours you run on the engine, the more dramatic. So yes, it is representative. This is a building products distributor that delivers to construction sites.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the engines and I'm thinking, okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So
just looking at the engine types, I'm like, okay, that matches up with the picture.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So it's heavy haul, right? Heavy haul, running a lot of miles to get there. Probably idling for an hour, maybe 2 in Florida region, Georgia. You're idling or else you're going to sweat to death. So
yeah, very true. Very true.
You have to, right? So this is a, heavy haul building products. This is box dry van, regional dry van.
Mm-hmm.
And intermodal regional.
Okay, cool. So what this is something you throw on a reefer unit too, right? No?
Yes, absolutely. any big engine, frankly. We're focusing in on Class 8 trucks because they do so much mileage and their horsepower is so high that, the fuel burn, right, is just so much more for a Class 8 truck than it is for a courier van.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're focused on where the big fuel is being spent. And that, of course, is big rigs.
So so, there's a cost to getting this 3-truck test, right?
Yep.
Okay. What's my soft costs? What are the soft costs? I mean, what if they say, yeah, I love it, but I don't have time for this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's ignorant, I know, because, I don't have time to save millions of dollars potentially, but let's just say, okay. I mean, you got somebody who's in their office, they're going to throw up every bogey tack that they got. Right. So it comes down to it, Andy. You have met all my objections, and I'm just going to say, yeah, I don't have time.
All right. So basically, what we're asking them to do is have a driver put in the date, whatever the idea is on the truck, the odometer, and the fuel. Those are it. That's it right there. Now, do you want to measure DEF as well? We can do that. It's optional. But
Gotcha.
It's basically date, what's my odometer, and how much fuel did I add?
Okay, so what if they can grab that through data, through ELD or?
Unfortunately, the data from ELD compared to real fuel and odometer is inaccurate.
No kidding, dude.
Yep.
No, I would have never. I believe everything, so I would have never have guessed that.
Yeah, I've actually done studies, right? Compare the ELD with fuel and odometer. So when I was growing up, my dad said, Andy, you ought to look and see what your miles per gallon are. And well, how do you do that? Well, how much fuel did you put in to get you to a full tank, and how many miles did you drive? Oh, that makes sense. Now, I've been in the trucking software world for a very long time.
Yeah.
The problem is there's anomalies and gaps and hiccups and the data. So I've done studies where I actually just look at fuel and odometer, compare that to ELD, and it's anywhere from 5 to 20% difference.
Nice.
Now, I believe the fuel and odometer. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with the fuel. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely am. Absolutely am. Yeah.
So fuel and odometer, it doesn't lie, and it doesn't have any gaps, and there is no anomalies and missed data and so forth. So it's just fuel and odometer. That's what we do. Then we compile it for the company, and we compare it with them, and we're using their information, and we send it to them just as an added assurance that I'm not playing with the numbers, right? Here is your information, calculated miles per gallon. If there's an error in there, please let me know, because I want it to be accurate, because I want it to prove the result. So,
well, I mean, they're gonna grab the same data as you are and be doing their own calculations if they're smart, right? I mean,
exactly. They've done it ahead of.
You're not gathering all this data and then fudging numbers. They gather the data and they can give you a copy of the data, and then you both calculate it, and hopefully the decimals come out right, right?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. But I send a spreadsheet with all the lines in it and all the data, right? Just as an added assurance that it's your data, it's your numbers, and here's the result.
Yeah, that is tremendous. And the average is coming back at 20%.
Average is coming back at 20%.
Okay, so I pay for this, and then it hits, you hit the 10% mark, right? Because it's minimum 10% or your money back, right?
Right. So
if I hit 10% or 11%, and then for some crazy reason, I decide I don't want to do
it. Right. There's it could happen.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it could have. You and I have both been in sales, right?
Right.
That scenario is acting out right now somewhere in the universe. You know it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Somewhere in the universe, that very thing is happening. Right. Yes. So Now, economically, net savings wise, it's what I would call a no-brainer. However, let's say you're going through a merger.
Yeah.
They are scrutinizing every line item of your P&L, your balance sheet, blah, blah, blah. I get that, right? You're not going to go out and do this and say, well, yeah, we decided to do another million, but we put it in this additive and, no, okay. There are reasons, of course. But economically, financially, there's no reason. It's got to be other things going on.
Yeah, it's got to be. Okay, so let's think about some of those other things, man. So what about ease of use? How to make sure people are going to use this and I'm not just paying for stuff that someday I'm going to walk out into the maintenance shop and stumble over 5 cases of this stuff and go, what the hell is this?
Right. So basically, I'm going to take you through a scenario and we can play with the numbers, right?
All right. Yeah.
So let's say you're a 450 truck fleet running about 1,700 miles per week on average per truck and about 6.7 miles per gallon. With the national average of fuel right now and our average savings, a company would average $2.68 million in net savings after the cost of the product and after the cost of the automated dosing systems. And let's assume that every single truck needs an automated dosing system. There's no fuel tank farm. There's no mobile fuel delivery. There's no other option. They fuel on the road. They need a dosing system, period, on every truck. They save 2.68 million net after that.
After all of that.
Right. So that's why
that dosing system bought. Are they buying that dosing system? Or what are they doing?
We have a 3-year subscription, right? 3 years lease to own, basically. And so you sign up for a 3-year on however many trucks you want to do. And you've already got the proof because we've done the pilot and it's savings.
Okay. That's cool. So how big is this thing? Where does it fit?
So there's 2 pieces to it. It's a computer enclosure that's about 9 inches deep, 13 inches wide, 12 inches tall. And then there's a tank for the dynamo, which is roughly about 12 inches deep, 18 inches wide, 30 inches tall. It holds 6 gallons. If you fill it all together, it's about 53 pounds because I get that question a lot. Oh, well, you're going to add equipment. Well, you strap it to the frame between the fifth wheel and the cab, and all together, when it's completely full, it's 53 pounds.
Yep.
So it doesn't make a difference on your load weight, right?
No, not enough.
Very much.
It's the weight of an empty pallet, basically.
Yeah, it is. It's the weight of an empty pallet. It's not going to move the needle on the load weights because that's a very, very viable concern, right? Are you going to mess up my load weights? No.
Well, sure. Well, a lot less than batteries.
way less than batteries. Frankly, a guy could probably put an igloo cooler full of water in the back of the truck and it'd weigh more than this combined.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, right? And it depends on if it's full of light beer or like a heavy craft, like lager or something.
That's right.
Or God forbid a stout.
Oh, you'd be full for 6 months with a stout, right? Oh man. But
so that's pretty simple stuff. So the self-dosing system, okay. What does that do for me that it's a self-site? First of all, it's guaranteeing, I guess, that how automated is that? Is it like it just knows how to is it just drip feeding it in there as an IV, or is it you punch in how many gallons how does that work? How's that run?
It's a fully automated system. What it does is it's got a float that goes in the tank. It knows how much fuel was added. It opens a pump and puts in the dynamo into the fuel. So the benefit, of course, is drivers don't have to measure it. They don't have to mess with it. The cool thing for the drivers is they have a more responsive engine. You can feel it. We have a 20.2% proven cetane boost. That's just one thing we're doing, of course, but it boosts the cetane. So the driver feedback is, wow, I like this because my engine is much more responsive and they don't have to do anything, right? They show up, like they normally do their driving, and they're getting a more responsive truck out of it as well.
Yeah. And they're not the ones that have to go and, get a bottle of the stuff and unscrew it and pour it in a tank and all that kind of junk, right?
Right.
Like throwing some SDP dry gas. You ever have to use dry gas back in the day, brother?
No, but I had to use Stay-Bill a few times.
All right. All right. I got you.
when I let the fuel in my what was that? I'm trying to remember. I think it was my Volkswagen Rabbit, the very first car I ever had. Well, we let it, before I got my license, we didn't really think about it. And we let it sit in the garage. My dad had saved this car for me. Let it sit in the garage for 6 months with no driving.
Oops.
We go to crank up the engine. What do you think?
Nothing. That doesn't work real well. No, you got water in there, brother.
Oh yeah. So we had to put some of this. I don't even remember if it was Stable or another one, but we had to put a fuel stabilizer in it.
Yeah.
And then, oh, okay, we're good now. And Dad said, burn through that fuel pretty quick and replace it because it's bad gas at this point.
It is bad gas. Yeah, you need to get it. You need to get rid of it quick.
Right. Which was not a problem when you're 16 years old. Trying to figure out places to drive is not an issue.
No, it's not. Yeah, you were like, okay, I can burn this off real quick.
I'll burn this off in a day.
Maybe I should fill up the tank a couple more times just to make sure it's out of the system.
Oh man, when I was that age, we ran around. We were hardly ever home when I think about it, man. We were running around all over the place all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. All the time.
Just out and about.
This brings up a point because it's the bad gas. So what's the impact on the engine with dynamo? Am I going to ruin my warranties? My maintenance costs going to, what's going on there? What can we tell people about that?
Absolutely. It will not void your warranty. We've treated over 60 million gallons of fuel. It actually burns cleaner than regular diesel. Okay. So I've got a little thing here. So we've treated over 60 million gallons. It's EPA certified. We also have $4 million of aggregate insurance, combining trucking, tower, and cyber fuels. We have lab and client case studies proving the benefits. It's compliant with that Magnuson Moss Warranty Act, where you can't ban the use of one particular additive just because you feel like it, and you cannot force somebody to use just your additive on their engine either. It's a two-sided law, right? Gotcha. So we've been down this road almost every time. Are you going to void my warranty? No, bottom line. But we also have a lot of other added assurances, right?
Yep.
Treated 60 million gallons of fuel with not one warranty or insurance claim. And it only makes sense because we're actually helping the fuel burn cleaner.
Well, yeah, no, it totally makes sense. But there's you got these maintenance deals and you got these other things, and there's concerns that need to be answered. That's all.
No, I agree totally. You can't, and having a healthy level of skepticism is a really good idea in life. Otherwise, I could have been talked into more stupid things than I actually were talked into.
Really?
I could have, right?
All right. Well, I don't think this is a show to talk about that.
No, when I was in high school and college, I'm not going to give specific names or anything, but I got talked into doing various different dares and things, right? Because my skepticism level was really low at that point. As you start to learn, your skepticism level, I think, increases with time. At least that's been my life experience. Anyway.
I get it.
But
I get it.
No, it's good to have it's good to have that skepticism, honestly. But what it does, and the reason why it helps the engine burn cleaner is what I call it. It improves the efficiency of the burn of the fuel itself. So it's reducing emissions coming off the combustion chamber. We remove carbon from the engine. We lubricate the engine. So we're preventing issues down the line, particulate filter issues, going off and having to pull over because your warning, pull over. You cannot drive this truck anymore until you get it serviced, right? That happens every day in America, all over the place, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I hear about it, and it's more and more and more. A lot of the repairs these days are tied to fuel and emissions.
Yeah.
So, we're helping the fuel burn more completely, cleaner. We're lubricating the engine. We're cleaning the carbon out, and it's got knock-on effects, of course.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, we help the engine run better, burn cleaner, have less emissions, all of those things.
Gotcha. And yeah, lubricate, and it actually lubricates the engine as well. I mean, we're talking about all these different things that it does. And reduces repairs and downtime. Is there proof of that, or is this theoretical that it can?
Really, it takes years of information on that front. What we've done is we've measured the amount of diesel exhaust fluid coming off, being burned, which is a really good indicator of how much you're using your DPFs, right?
Okay.
That is the study we've done. We've also done the carbon removal and burn tests. So that's pretty fun to look at, honestly.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
All right. So the bottom of a Coke can has a carbon stamp. They do that so that it doesn't come off in a cooler with water and ice, right? So you can take that and you can try and use Windex or Kaboom or any number of different products to try and take that carbon off, and it won't come off. Well, when you're burning fuel through an engine, there's carbon.
Of course.
Build up, right?
Yeah.
The old engines, if you break one of those open, it's just full of carbon buildup. Okay.
Yeah.
We remove the carbon. So now we're removing the carbon, but then also it adds lubricity as well. Now, this is us after burning the product on metal. And this is two products that have been on the market a very long time. And I'm not going to name them, but they've been out there for many, many years. And this is what I would call old technology versus new technology. Us on the left and old on the right.
Wow. Okay. It looks impressive, man. I can't say it doesn't. It looks good. Looks like you poured molasses all over that last one there. That's what it looks like. You lit it on fire.
Crazy thing about that is after you let it cool down, you can literally take your finger and pick that can up because it's tar.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
But
it's
on the
sticky,
flip side,
gummed up and everything.
Oh yeah. On the flip side, that amber substance right there is lubrication. So that's why people go, I don't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't. So we're doing a money back guarantee. I don't know what else we can do. Make it risk free.
No, I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. The money back guarantee is always helpful. I imagine you're getting a lot better response or some improvement in response, greater number of response for sure with that.
Absolutely. Yep. And we're happy to do it. And we're on this adventure together, Michael. I just can't wait for the things we're going to do in the months and years ahead.
I love it. I hope that people take advantage of this, the money back guarantee. The thing is, the only reason they would do that is because they're scared they're wrong, right? I mean, it's almost like they're betting and they're going to lose that bet. But hopefully it'll get the people who are like, man, I don't know, to come across like, hey, look, we're putting our neck out behind her. This is money and time spent that, is we're guaranteeing that money to go back. So that's here's our stamp of guarantee on it, man. I am Tommy Boy. I will, stamp a guarantee on that box. I've got the time. At some point, you and I need to go on the road and light some stuff on fire. I agree. Kind of like Tommy Boy. Coke cans with cyber fuels on it. That's right. Exactly. Yep. You know the scene where he accidentally lights the car on fire in the guy's office? Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. Oh, man. But yeah, it's fun. It's exciting. Frankly, I love working with trucking fleets. I've been doing it for 27 years and it's so much fun. And so that's what we're doing. And looking forward to more fun chapters ahead. Hey, click I think the link is actually above this video, isn't it? Like right over here. Depends on the platform. I think mostly it's below. It's Michael's special Sustainiacs link, right? You got to go there, guys. You got to go there. It's a money back guarantee. You go there, you talk to somebody, you see these presentations, get all your concerns answered, It's really, really easy. You're not going to have a team of people there disrupting all your dispatchers and making sure your drivers, and they're not going to be riding around with your drivers, making them mad or delaying them at stops or anything like that. That's what shippers and consignees are for. We're going to get this together, and it is completely transparent. You're doing your calculations. We're doing our calculations. And at the end, here's what you can be saving. And it's real net savings. It's not like you're spending 10% less on your fuel, but it costs you 20% more because of the cyber fuels. It's not the case. It's a net savings, 10 to 20%.
There you go. Exactly. Net savings of 10 to 20%. Take your fuel number. Let's say you spend 10 million. Would you like to save $1 million to $2 million after the cost? If so, well, we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the other thing. You want to get your, your carbon emissions footprint stamped and, be doing something to the environment so you can put that on your bids and actually win those bids because you have to.
Absolutely. No, it's becoming more and more common in every RFP. And what are you doing for sustainability and prove it? Not through, we're really nice and we like the environment and so forth. No, we'll give me some data. What's going on?
Exactly. What are you doing? And your stakeholders and shareholders want to know that as well. And if you need to get capital raised, then the banks want to know that as well. It's just a good all around business sense is what it is. And that's what I'm arguing with OPT as well, Andy. I mean, we're in an era now where the technology is such that you got things like cyber fuels where you actually it makes business sense to be green.
It does.
It just does.
It does. Makes business sense.
I read a post today where a guy that I respect usually said that green is an emotion. No, I don't think so. I think so.
Right.
It might have been in the 80s and the 70s. It isn't anymore. It's actual technology and it's actual good business sense.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Well, Michael, once again, you've nailed it on the head. That's going to do it for this week's episode. You guys be sure and take advantage of Michael's Sustainiacs link. If you're in the world of plastics, save some money on your plastics while doing the earth a favor as well. Right?
Amen.
So Michael will get you all lined out and I'll help as much as I can. And we'll keep going here. So that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody. And we will see you again soon. Take care.
Peace and love, everybody.